This is the way. Welcome back to Bring Your Own Lightsaber. We are here to break down the Mandalorian Chapter 23. It is The Spies. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan, joined as always by Cam and our continuous guest, Greg.
I will forever be a guest host.
That is a good way to put it. You're no longer a special guest. You're just a continuous guest.
Okay, you could just say I'm a not so special guest, but I want to be a guest. Okay. First thing to note, the spies. We spent the entire episode wondering who the spies could be. We couldn't pick a single spy. We've seen some. The spies could be a reference to some Jewish heritage information that you might find in, I guess, the Bible, Old Testament, maybe. I was just reading about it. Jon Favreau is pretty Jewish, I think, and the spies is like another Hebrew word for like somebody who goes out and surveys land to try and find a place to live that's like safe, which is kind of what the theme of this episode is. So That's a strong indicator of what the episode actually was about, and not that there was a spy lurking in the midst.
Right. There were no real spies.
The doctor, pretty much the opening scene was Dr. Empire. He doesn't come back. Sorry, not
Officer
Dr.
Kane.
He's gone.
No, Dr. Pershing. He's gone. But Officer Kane on Coruscant, walking through some super cool rain with some pretty cool,
probably the coolest rain I've
pretty
ever
cool
seen.
music.
It was,
and
everything
I thought I was
cool.
watching Blade Runner at first, but it was still Mandalorian. And she contacts an Imperial probe droid, and it's Moth Gideon.
He is back after, I guess, 7 episodes. We haven't seen him since the finale of Mandalorian Season 2, and he's as evil as ever.
Yeah, he's,
if anything, more evil.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so they hang up on the phone after she tells him that there's a problem with the Mandalorians on Navarro, and that's unfortunate for whatever reason. And then Moff Gideon walks into a room of people, all on a
Are we going to glance over the episode 1 throwback hallway?
Oh yeah, with the laser locking doors. That was pretty cool.
And the new
troopers.
yeah.
No, they were just
not even dark troopers.
They were jetpack clad stormtroopers.
You just call them phase 3.
To be honest, I thought they might have been leftover Mandalorians, like leftover Imperial Mandalorians, because there were like all kinds of sects of Mandalorians that split off, and there were a bunch that worked for the Empire and Rebels.
Yeah, right, they did have that white design in Rebels. It could just be leftover armor suits from them.
But
that's how they recast it.
Like they flew and fought like Mandos, but they didn't exactly have the armor to be Mandalorians because they were getting shot to pieces.
Yeah, they couldn't really take a hit like that.
Which we'll talk about later,
or at least from Paz's gun.
But we get to see what is commonly referred to in some of the new expanded universe novels as the Shadow Council, which in the early days of the New Republic, they were spending a lot of time and resources trying to hunt down the Empire, or what remained of the Empire, and their top leaders. And after some back and forth, one of the largest sects led by, what's her name? Admiral.
I'm not sure.
Oh God, from the book with Mr. Bones.
It's been a while. Would it start with an H?
It'll come back to me later. I'm going to shout it in the middle of another conversation.
Sloan?
Yeah, Ray Sloan.
She was a good pick.
So anyway, Ray Sloan was the leader of one of the larger sects, and she commanded the Ravager, which was one of several Imperial superstar destroyers that still survived after the not the Executrix, it's the Executor, which was Vader's ship that crashed into the Death Star. So that's a whole book with all kinds of fun stuff in it. But the Shadow Council is something that is basically made up of a handful of Imperial warlords, as they call them. The implication is that they're all separated and acting independently, and they're scattered, but secretly they are still a united front, just operating in the shadows now. So that's what we get to see. And there's some names thrown around, but the only one that sticks out to me is was it Captain or Admiral?
I think Captain.
It was Captain Pelion.
That's right.
Yeah. So Cam, you not Cam, you haven't read those. Ryan, you want to talk about the implications of that real quick?
He is just essentially the quintessential right-hand man of Thrawn, who is also name dropped in this episode.
They do. But they want to know where he is. Moth Gideon's like, so where is he? Because I've been waiting. And
Right. They keep on saying is
Yeah.
pending return or impending return.
Which, if we have read those books, we know one thing Thrawn had been interested in was this kind of missing fleet. I think it might have been called the Katana Fleet. And there is a ginormous fleet in episode 9 on Exegol. We don't know how
Right.
it got there.
And what's neat about those is they're all like old Empire era Star Destroyers,
Yeah.
Imperial class Star Destroyers that have these new retrofitted planet killer lasers on them. And say what you want about Disney and its choice of only using the same one-trick pony for super weapons, whatever. Yeah, it is at least that touch of having them be old school ships. That could be our connection to that. And as much as people might want the sequels to disappear, they've pretty much announced at Star Wars Celebration that they're going to kind of double down on that. And we can talk about that later.
Right.
But
So maybe that's where Thrawn has been riding his
a lot of people
Lightspeed space
think they're going to use the Mandoverse to bridge the gap between what story should have been told and where the universe ended up going. Which again, a lot of people don't like, but it's there, and there's just no sense crying over spilled milk.
I mean, this is not related whatsoever, but part of that is what's up with Luke and his Jedi Academy.
Oh man,
Right.
I just want
Right.
to see Mara Jade.
I mean, we might have seen her in a recent trailer. We might have.
Let's get there.
All right, so we are kind of in the Shadow Council. We hear the name drop of Captain Pelion and Grand Admiral Thrawn. Another name drop we heard was Commandant Hux, who I guess is the father of our favorite redheaded First Order
temper tantrum throwing.
Gleason.
So that was kind of a cool callback. And his thing is cloning, is that right?
Both. So, well, in the book, right, the Aftermath books that you read a long time ago, I just finished them a little bit ago. He was coming up with new ways to brainwash new soldiers. Like they were taking children and kind of brainwashing them to just follow orders, and that's like kind of how the series ends, is with him proving that they've really mastered that technique. So his son, the Hux we know, ends up leading those kid soldiers somewhere else, and they learn. That's where you infer that the First Order comes from, is they take people and brainwash them into being soldiers. But yeah, before all that, I believe he had something to do with any of the clone regiments that they may have kept for the Imperial military, but I wasn't under the impression they did keep a lot. But I don't know. I don't know anything.
Bad Batch
One way
season
to find
3.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting.
But long story short, we basically see how Gideon's getting all impatient with Thrawn's return, and he's saying how someone maybe should step up as leadership in the meantime, or just in general, because who knows if he's even going to come back, which again we'll talk about. But long story short, he ends up just asking for some reinforcement help for these Mandalorians, hopefully wipe away the possible one threat that might interrupt their operation they have going on. And he basically ends up getting that help. So they're going to send him, I think, some bombers, some interceptors, and some extra cruisers, I would imagine, light cruisers or Star Destroyers, whatever, to reinforce him out near Mandalore.
Yeah, essentially, it seemed like Pelion and Hux, their kind of group, had a lot more resources that Gideon could use in retaking, or not retaking, but kind of stomping out any Mandalorian presence in his sector.
Right.
And that kind of is the segue into our Mandalorians.
Yeah.
We're on Navarro.
We see the terrible alarm system again as their
Which
light
is just-
cruiser comes by.
It's just a droid running like 30 seconds late every time. And there's a mythosaur on the bottom of the nice...
Yeah. And Greg, as you pointed out, probably took forever to paint that entire thing.
Yeah, that's a lot of paint.
But it looks cool nonetheless.
They have
Yeah, I'm
droids for
surprised they
that.
didn't commission Sabine Wren, but again, we will talk about her later.
But we get the first meeting of the covert and
Yes.
basically the Night Owls, or just the rest of the Mandalorians. They're not all night owls, but
They all look kind of grouchy at each other, and then the armor bangs her hammers together, and then they sit and have dinner together, but they still look grouchy, and that's that. What's really exciting is the gift that High Magistrate Karga has for Din and Grogu.
probably the nicest looking bottle of wine.
It kind of looked like a cherry brandy. I don't know. It looked. I really wanted.
I just wanted one. I really wanted
Coruscant. No, that's not the gift. That is a gift he received, but that is not the gift we're talking about. It is the mech suit that they turned IG-11 into.
Now IG-12.
That Grogu is now going to be a part of. And I got to be honest, when I first saw it, I was like, is that little pilot just going to come with it the whole time?
I was thinking that too.
But no, it's a little mech suit for Grogu. They turned IG-11 into IG-12,
and possibly the best and worst part is there's only two words.
No. Yes.
Can I just say, what a great ultimate uncle gift?
I know.
A giant mech suit.
I wish I could have gotten one of those when I was
too
Grogu's
young.
age.
No.
Get out of it.
No.
He can now communicate. How awesome is that?
That was pretty cool. He gets into a little trouble with it, just running around in the streets and taking people's food. Yeah. Anyway,
mech suit Grogu.
Moving on.
You finally got IG.
Yeah, we got IG back, not the IG we were expecting.
Not quite.
My eyes lit up there for a second. I was like, but then it was almost too good to be true because there needs to be almost a dedicated storyline to rebuilding him. So
also,
I think I liked it the way
story,
it is.
He could have come in handy if he wasn't.
Yeah, that's true.
They need to. Yeah, well, you think he would have let Din? Well, we got to get to it. All right.
I think he would have really messed up Moth Gideon's plan.
Yeah. But hey, Grogu's got to outgrow. He's got to grow up a little bit so he doesn't
2.0.
fit in IG-12.
Self-destruct on it. All right, sorry, we're going on a tangent here. Yes, IG-12 is the new Grogu mech suit, and Dad's going, "Oh man, what are we getting into with this?"
Well, it serves them well. They decide to leave and go to Mandalore, and
a nice little speech from
they
Bo.
bring the big fleet into orbit over Mandalore. A dropship goes down to investigate. It's shocker. It's got Mando, Grogu, and Din on it. No, Bo,
Paz,
Din,
Bo, and
all the main characters. They're all there.
They're all Mandalorians.
So they go down. They check out the planet. There's nothing. Then a pirate ship on land with sails and everything comes out of nowhere.
Very, like we said, kind of Mad Max meets Pirates of the Caribbean.
It was pretty great. Turns out some Mandalorians they're very hungry, but they were able to survive on the surface of the planet.
First thing they call out is, hey, you got some food.
They had no ships and not much else. They were loyal to Bo-Katan, though, so that was pretty cool. We learn a little lore. We find out that Bo-Katan, before the Purge and the Night of 1,000 Tears, Bo-Katan was leading the Mandalorian people, and they surrendered to Moth Gideon. That's why he gets
the hope of
So Moth Gideon says we'll just assimilate your planet into control. He takes the Darksaber, and then they bomb the planet into oblivion. So not very cool, but that's how he got the Darksaber.
Right. We learned he did not defeat her in battle. Basically.
Yes, he just. I mean, his forces defeated her forces, so as a show of whatever.
True. Yeah.
Doesn't it have to be single combat though? I think
the nitty-gritty of the laws of the Darksaber inheritance.
I mean, it has to be won by combat, but
does it specify a one-on-one?
It doesn't. I don't think it specifies single combat, but typically when you have a group of Mandalorians, you're not going to say we're all going to take it from you. I mean, you probably could if you all beat somebody in combat, but. I don't know.
I feel like it's more about honor is what the terms and conditions seem to be, not like, oh, my team beat yours and I'm the leader, therefore you have to give it to me. I would imagine it's more one-on-one honor style duel, if you will.
Yeah, I think more single combat, honestly.
Anyway, the pirate Mandalorians, not to be confused with the pirates from the first few episodes, say they know where the Great Forge is, so they take them there. A giant dinosaur.
We do have the most epic chess match of all time.
Oh yeah,
true.
You could talk about that.
Yeah, so we got they play chess two different ways between the two different groups of Mandalorians, and we got a nice fight scene over a silly game between Paz and, I'm just going to call him Wolf because I can't remember his actual first name or last name, whatever it is.
Axe Woves.
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 Not Wolf. Okay.
Or just Axe.
Both, all cool names.
Okay.
So fight between them. We see the vibro knives. I always forget what they're called actually. And, all over this game when Din says, oh, should I step in? And then Bo-Katan, after giving this whole speech of, oh, the worst thing that's ever happened to us is our division. She's like, oh, we can't do anything about it. Sorry. We see none other than Mech Suit Grogu stepping in the way and breaking up the fight. And they're like, oh, well, if the baby can stop us, then maybe we should stop fighting. And then we get the cutest head nod of all time back to Din.
And Din goes, I didn't teach him that. So maybe that was some influence from his Jedi one-time master.
30-second
master. Not long was that his master. I just thought that fight overall was really... This is how Mandalorians fight. There were jetpack kicks, jetpack punches. There were... Axe Woves fought a little dirty. I thought his first shot...
He's the little guy.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, I think that is also fighting Mandalorian a little bit.
Right.
Do
whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Well, we also found out what the suit actor is for for Paz Vizsla, because it's not actually Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau does the voice of the character in the show, and the actor is a big scary man.
I think that may be in the WWE.
Just
must be
big tank of a man.
He was a big man. Anyway, that
cool fight scene, and then kind of leads on to their cool pirate ship.
Did you say that already?
Yes. And then head nod.
Yeah. Okay. And then the giant dinosaur breaks everything. Yeah.
I still can't believe why wouldn't they have turned the ship sooner?
Why did it explode so much? It was so explosive.
Yeah, was it running on some sort of fuel?
I think he might have been like a lava monster type thing.
Whatever it was, that wasn't a mythosaur.
No.
It looked completely unique.
But I'm wondering what is bigger, that or the mythosaur? We'll have to see.
The mythosaur's got to be right.
I don't think so.
Just maybe it's close,
like
but
gargantuan, and the mythosaur's head was bigger than Bo and Din, but not like.
I don't know. I feel like I remember from the baths or the waters. What do they call them?
Yeah,
like,
the sacred waters
beneath.
Yeah. When they were in it, I feel like when she was flying up with Din, I feel like it was just a decade from her flying from the bottom of it through the head of it.
It was pretty massive. I guess I'm wondering, is it like sort of corporally? Like, is it more of a dragon style type thing?
It looked almost more like a dinosaur.
A rancor?
Because it looked like that dinosaur that has the big ball on its tail that would just smash everything.
That's the dinosaur that I was thinking.
Yeah, this is like a nice kind of T-Rex type thing that could be interesting. Especially alongside Boba's Rancor on a battlefield.
Yeah,
that would be quite a sight.
I think traditionally the mythosaur is supposed to be pretty dragon. That's not a mythosaur. Pretty dragon-like.
Okay.
Yeah, we're kind of live.
Well, either way, I think we can suspect that the mythosaur is far more powerful than whatever this thing is.
Maybe. I mean, if it can fly, then that's.
I gotta think it's like maneuverable. It's kind of like not some slow lumbering thing.
Right.
That's more of the Rancor.
Anyway, they go down into the mines. Well, not really to the mines. They go down below ground.
So the ship crashes. They get in these caves to hide from this big beast, and they say, "Okay, we're still too shallow. We got to go deeper," which leads them into basically the heart of Mandalore.
And they stumble across the Great Forge pretty quickly.
Yeah,
it's not looking too great.
Yeah, you can see some cobwebs and dust still hanging around.
And then they get ambushed immediately.
Yeah, immediately we see the jetpack boosters, and they're like, "Oh, maybe it's some more Mandalorians." And then it is not Mandalorians. Oh, so we got the shot here.
It's big, but it's not as big as the thing we just saw.
See, we only saw the head though. We don't see it.
Yeah, but she's like maybe a third the size of its head, and that thing that we saw in this episode looked like it was like 50 stories tall. It was like Godzilla. And that was like Kong.
I think what we saw today is probably bigger.
Probably, yeah.
But maybe this is not even like full size yet. This thing could be growing
I
still.
don't know. Could be a baby. All right. Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, we're kind of checking out that
Just
scene.
looking at it again and again.
Yeah, I think it is smaller.
Probably slightly smaller, yeah, but still, a mythosaur.
Yeah.
It will do some damage in battle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which we hopefully will see soon.
They're looking at the forge and then ambush.
Yeah, they think they see the jetpacks and they think it's more Mandalorians, but it is not. It is these new Phase 3 stormtroopers.
They're wearing the armor we saw from Gideon's ship earlier, and they're there's a lot of them. Overall, I thought they were kind of outclassed by the Mandalorians.
There were way more of them than there seemed to be of Mandos, but they were not quite as tough.
And
so this thing's probably a little bit bigger.
They definitely could not handle Paz Vizsla's weapon. That was just going through them like...
Yeah, and they couldn't seem to land very many shots of meaning on these Mandalorians.
Right.
Obviously,
they got some in the start, but then we see
they have to live up to their name as Imperials.
We do really mostly see the shots of... So once the initial ambush starts, we mostly end up seeing the shots of Din, Paz, and Bo kind of messing up all the stormtroopers.
Darksaber doesn't come out.
No Darksaber.
I really wanted Bo to chop
one right in half. Yeah.
I was thinking maybe deflecting, but you might need the Force for that.
Yeah.
You might want the Force to sense where a laser bolt is about to hit.
Yeah, but I mean, some Bo Darksaber with her little shield thing just would have been so appreciated. But we still get some really cool fight scenes. We see Din hush Grogu over to a corner, which leads me to think, okay, why did we bring him down here if that's all you're going to do is worry about him?
They need like a sliding plate to just go up and cover his face with like 2 little eye holes.
Maybe that would be cool.
Maybe some ear holes.
IG-13 coming soon.
Because they also sent the armor back up to the fleet with some of the injured Mandalorians they found, and it's like, why not just send Grogu up there if you're suspecting trouble, you know?
Well, she was sent up there because she had injured pirates.
Yeah, they were just old and tired.
Right.
Yeah.
They didn't suspect an ambush.
Which, as we know, this will probably come into play next episode. There's no communications ground to air.
Correct, because the lightning and thunderstorms going out of the
magnetism from the purge.
Yeah.
But they
get ambushed, and Axe Woes here says, all right, let me fly up and I'll go to warn them. Granted, the ship flew off, so is he going to fly into space with his jetpack?
Yeah, he's going to have to fly.
He's going to run out of fuel.
No, I think they had multiple ships on the ground, so he'll just grab that other ship.
No, they only brought one drop ship.
Did they?
Bo was very insistent. Only then will we bring the rest of the settlers.
Right.
But that's like the big thing that everybody's questioning. Like, convenient that the armorer left.
Right.
Is she the spy that the episodes are talking about? I don't think so. But
it'd be hard to believe.
There's a detail that we get to learn in like a few minutes that gives you a little bit more belief on that argument. But maybe we should take a break and then we'll get into it.
I think that sounds good. We'll be right back.
Sorry for hosting. I'm the guest. Do you want to say it?
No, we're good to go to break.
No, wait. I don't want. I want you to say it. I want you to ask for a break.
What do you think, gents? Break?
Time for break? Yeah,
break.
Let's do it. We'll be right back. Welcome back from break. We are ready to finish up this episode, and then we'll dive into some theories for the season finale. Wow, we're already there. We kind of left off with Axe Woes just jetpacks into space.
I guess so. I guess that's his plan.
I don't know how he thinks he's going to make it through that storm, but he seemed to think
he
could
just
try.
Have enough fuel to get there, considering we've seen the limited fuel supply.
We have seen them run out of gas, but whatever. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, not the best plan, but hopefully it works out.
Anyway, the ambush is going. Mandos are pretty much routing the other forces. Because even though it looks like they're fighting other Mandos, which is pretty common for this culture, apparently, I think they're wearing Beskar, but
Well, it's a Beskar alloy, they keep saying, so it's not the pure and strong full Beskar that the Mandos have.
I don't know, but we do see Din and Bo both like pulling helmets back to shoot in the neck, and like they're
Right.
shooting for the armor gaps, which is exactly what they're supposed to be doing. But it's just kind of it's cool to see them playing John Wick style combat.
You don't really see the Imperials doing that. They haven't figured that out yet.
No,
Right.
they're not quite as tough.
Considering, I mean, what we're going to get to, it just seems like Paz Vizsla has armor covering every square inch of his entire body, or they just only hit him in the armor ever.
But then, so they chase the other forces around in this kind of cave. They're just running around, and then they go through like this lock gate door. I don't know. It kind of feels like a bay door that they have.
Right,
to
it's almost like an airlock, but not in space.
And as they're walking, like the other forces like kind of disappear, and as they're walking through, they're like they see all of this Imperial equipment like through a gorge. On the other side of this gorge, there's all this like there's another hangar with TIE interceptors. Like, what are those doing here? And then ka-chunk, the door shuts, trapping most of them inside, barring a select few.
One
Din Djarin being the one that one of few that was left outside, and he is full flamethrower, fighting for his life, like looking quite baller. So this is why I think the other troopers definitely were Mandos. Like if the jetpacks and fight styles didn't really get you, they were all using the like smart whip cords,
right
they shoot
on the wrist. I noticed that.
Yeah. So they corral Din. They don't kill him. They subdue him, and it does take like 4 of them to hold him down, which was pretty great to see. We did get some right before that. We got some great shots of Din like running head first into oncoming gunfire, just like blocking with his armor.
His classic headbutt charge.
Yeah, Maddie was saying
Hope for the best.
That's Pedro Pascal running out there. That's not just Din Djarin. But then all Bo-Katan, Grogu, Paz, they're all watching through the windows in this blast door. The other Mandos get killed, I think, and Din gets subdued because, of course, he does. Got that, not just his Mando armor, he's got plot armor too.
Can I pause this real quick?
Yeah.
We kind of glanced over something on the pirate ship about how Din basically went up and pledged himself to following Bo-Katan.
True.
That was a big moment that we right past it.
So real quick, taking us back to the pirate ship before it detonated via giant dinosaur creature from the earth,
and right after she told everybody about how she had to hand over the Darksaber to Moth Gideon to save her people.
Right. So basically at night she was standing there probably thinking like, oh, maybe that was a mistake that I did all that, blah, blah, blah. And Din walks up and basically just kind of reaffirms to her that like, hey, I don't care about name. I don't care about who you are, what you have available to you. I don't care about the Darksaber, any of it, right? Because she's basically saying all I have is this Darksaber to kind of try to unite us. And Din's like, oh yeah, I don't give a crap about that. Maybe not everyone does, but all I care about is like honesty, loyalty, and he throws another couple adjectives in there, but character, I think he mentions, and he's basically, and that's why I pledge myself to you.
Yeah, he really did say it. Like he's
in the hand over the chest, like I got you.
It was pretty awesome.
It was a pretty cool scene. Anyhow, back to the trap.
Din has been subdued, and Bo-Katan and others are watching on, not really in horror, but quite in dismay, I would say, as a dark-clad Mandalorian jets down, full sporting a cape.
He learned the jetpack pretty quick.
He did. It is Moth Gideon.
He looks good, too.
His helmet is pretty baller. It has horns on the top of it. Really reminiscent of the Darth Maul era troopers, Mandalorians that he had fighting for him. I can't remember the name of the lead guy.
Weren't they Death Watch? Weren't they partly Death Watch?
Partly, right?
Yep.
Anyway, that's why everybody's saying maybe the armorer is the spy because she's got horns on her helmet since she was a follower of Darth Maul at one point.
They're two little dinky horns.
Not quite. So who knows? I don't think that's it. I think the armorer is a Mandalorian and Moth Gideon is
very much not
evil Empire people, whatever. So they he takes off his helmet and he's all nerdy and proud of his fancy Beskar armor that he had made because the Imperials now control the resources of Mandalore because they once it was bombed into oblivion, they built a base there and started harvesting, I guess. So
at the start of the episode, in the Shadow Council, they said the Mandalorians reclaiming Mandalore would hinder their plans, I think, or hinder sort of whatever they're trying to do out there in that area. Which, okay, fine, but why?
Right.
Why would that really hinder them that much?
Well,
I mean, I guess because they have
they are like
base there, a huge one.
They're pretty formidable too.
So that also probably
the Mandalorian Fleet. Like
Yeah.
that's a full fleet, man.
Yeah,
That's not just something. It's not like they built their new ships out of Beskar. God,
no.
I hope they didn't build their ships.
I think we do now know though where if we think back to the scene where Bo-Katan's castle got blown up, that must be where all the TIE fighters and interceptors came from.
Yeah,
super close,
they
nearby.
were
right, so it wasn't actually a fleet; it was just this big hangar of them.
I was actually getting Starkiller base vibes of that whole thing.
Yeah, it did. It did have that feeling to it. The way the things were kind of cut into the surface and whatnot, like they were on Starkiller. But that's all right. So they take Din Djarin, and
we get a very villain monologue.
Yeah,
for a second.
it was good though. Oh, the cloners, the Kaminoans had the cloning, the Jedi, the Force users, and Grogu nods his head at that, and then and the Mandalorians and their iron or Beskar.
Yeah.
It's all good. But yeah, so they take Din and they say take him to the interrogation room or whatever. So Din's been pulled off the table. And
I mean, we're sitting there wondering the whole time. It's like, why? There's no force going on. There's no Darksaber chopping through walls going on.
They're just watching. I think they're like at that point they are moderately outgunned, but they're separated by a wall, and it's Gideon asking them to surrender again, and they take Din away, and then Bo just says, "Yeah, about that." They all start shooting at the glass.
Yeah.
And Bo runs to the other side of the room and starts Qui-Gon jinning her way through.
She
but not as cool as Qui-Gon would just stick it in and just kind of twist it around. It'd be really cool. She just cut a little circle.
She
was in a rush.
Okay.
That's true. I'm still surprised that like Paz or someone didn't just, when they were all shooting at the glass waiting for it to open, why didn't they just aim someone right at Gideon so that when the door went up, boom, dead.
Well, but Gideon had his helmet on before they opened the door back up.
But still, if their armor's not as good as the
see, that's what I'm saying. I don't think the general Stormtrooper armor would, even with the Beskar modifications, was going to be up to snuff. But I could be wrong. Right. What I will say though is Gideon's armor was mechanized. I don't know if you heard it whirring when he was taking steps.
Yeah,
he made a full Iron Man suit out of that.
Yeah,
stuff.
His is different. But
I bet he is pretty impervious in there.
I mean, we saw some other things get destroyed by the Force last season.
We did.
And we had a Force user right there who did nothing.
He didn't.
Nothing at all.
You would have thought that would have provoked a reaction out of Grogu.
Because Grogu tried to choke somebody before, didn't he?
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was, but he did.
The farm planet.
Yeah.
And they've kind of established him as pretty formidable. He's been jumping, he's been force pushing.
Yeah.
And now he's got a big robo suit.
But maybe next episode we'll see some force unleashed.
Yeah. I'm more so not even necessarily mad that he didn't do anything about it, but more they didn't even show his real reaction to Din getting detained and taken away.
Yeah. They didn't. Nobody really had a reaction, and it was. I had a reaction. Yeah.
We didn't. Someone said, "Is he about to die?" I mean,
I thought I was like, "Are they? Is that it? Is that the
character arc
price?
Grogu?
Is that the price that this show is going to pay? Like there are consequences. Somebody's got to die."
And they would have just Dooku'd him.
Yeah,
the head comes right off.
So cue next scene though. Speaking of someone's got to die.
Yep. They're all shooting. They're holding their own at that doorway, and they're starting to evacuate through the hole that Bo cut on the other side of the wall. We definitely see Grogu get out. They got to put a freaking jetpack on IG-11, man.
Oh man, because there is one scene where they have to
Yeah, they when
Lift him
the
out.
giant
Yeah, on the
dinosaur
ship
breaks
scene,
the
yeah.
boat, they have to jetpack Grogu away. Paz and somebody else carry him out. Anyway, you see Grogu get away. All the Mandalorians get away, but Paz Vizsla is still standing there and still shooting. And the troopers keep landing in, and they just, you know, he's having his moment.
Right, and Bo turns around and says, "Come on, retreat, let's go." And he basically says, "There's too many. Go, I'll hold them off." And he does exactly that.
Does, man.
Yeah.
Bo leaves. He shoots his minigun so much that the whole thing heats up, glowing hot metal red. And it was cool to see a gun overheat in Star Wars.
Yeah.
We don't really get that. Like,
You see it in the
my
Battlefront
weapons
game.
are overheated.
Battlefront,
No.
Battlefront, yeah.
Yeah. So that was a nice touch. It stops working. It's overheated so much. And that's when he starts going full melee, and he's basically Boba Fett from episode 2 or season 2 of season 2.
It did look like
episode,
WWE.
whatever.
I don't know if that's actually a WWE.
Yeah, he got some clotheslines
wrestler,
going.
but
He
looked comfortable doing those moves.
He was smacking those guys around. It was pretty great.
One thing we kind of missed was during that time, the whole monologue, Gideon kind of scrambles the fighters, or I don't know if that's
Oh,
right
yeah.
word,
well,
but-
he begins
He sends
sending them out to
their
go destroy
forces.
the fleet.
Yes.
So that's the setup for the next episode.
What an episode
we're gonna
that's
have a
gonna be.
These ships are
huge
heading up to the
battle, space
atmosphere,
battle, yeah.
and Din has been captured, and he's being sent for interrogation. So there's kind
Does
of
that
two
mean no N1
objectives.
in the big space battle?
Yeah, dude.
He's gonna have to escape somehow.
Where is the N1, man? I keep asking because Din's just been on.
It's probably on the light carrier,
Yeah,
I'm
it is.
guessing, or the light cruiser.
He could have left it on Navarro with Grief
I doubt
Guard
it.
up.
I doubt it.
I don't know.
This
I
could
doubt it too.
This
He's got to have it for the final space battle, right?
Well,
He
he's
must.
not. He's captured.
Well, he's going to escape and then he'll partake.
Maybe.
Well,
Hopefully.
I
I
forgot
do
about
hope-
someone.
There are so many loose ends to tie up in one more episode.
Are we going to see
man.
Axe Wolves show up in the N1?
No, I think.
Oh, that'd be cool, actually.
Let's finish this and then.
Yeah.
To finish it off, they kind of
So they send out the red.
No. So yeah. So Paz beats everybody to death.
Literally everyone.
with his bare hands. He throws stormtroopers off the balcony. It's great. And he's just like standing there winded, but he did it. And then 3 Praetorian guards show up. The 3 that Moff Gideon requested from Commandant Hux. And they are clad at wielding weapons similar
They've got
to those.
the Grievous Guard glowy sticks.
No, well,
Similar. They look.
yeah,
like-
yeah. So that's where the
Much
technology
better,
would
much
have
better.
derived from
Correct.
in the prequel era. But it's the same gear and equipment that the Praetorian Guards had in Snoke's throne room in The Last Jedi. I'm famous for hating that movie.
And terrible choreography in that scene as well.
In The Last Jedi, yes. In this one, I kind of enjoyed it, man. I don't know. It seemed like there was no way he was winning that fight, but maybe he's going to take one out. He does get speared through the gut.
Yeah.
And the shoulder.
They got to get past his armor, and those little blinky swords aren't doing very much. So they go around the plates, which is, like amazing that a blaster bolt never found its way there in the last hour of him getting shot. But he does what the Uruk-hai did in The Lord of the Rings when Aragorn stabs him through the chest. He pulls him closer and reaches for his head. But then he gets triple teamed, and it's just death to Paz. But it was epic.
Post Vizsla.
It was great.
he basically took a lot of damage, and they wanted to show it takes a lot to take this guy
this
down,
guy.
Right.
Who-
And they did a good job of doing that. It was a good sacrifice.
leaving his son behind as well.
Yeah,
so
that is,
Din's gonna have to adopt him too. He's gonna have 2 adopted kids
For the foundlings. And isn't that how they close it? He falls down, and that's it.
Yeah, that was the last scene. They black it out after that.
Yeah, but
But Bo's circle was completed. Yeah, they kind of escaped out of that room at least.
Yeah.
And the sacrifice at least wasn't for nothing.
Right.
yeah,
So they'll stand a chance in the next episode.
Wow, and Gideon's suit looks incredible.
I know. Which for the listeners, we are watching that scene again in silence. And, yeah, his suit is incredible. I just want to watch Paz mollywop some guys again.
I think let's jump into what we're thinking for next episode.
Yeah.
So before anyone says anything, all I have to say is Rebels
Rebels.
2.0.
Okay. We should probably go through the list of things that they announced at Star Wars Celebration, right? That's what it was.
It was. Which it just kind of came up on us.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was happening.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting
Dude,
that.
my job kicks me in the
A lot of
nuts
cool
every
things.
day.
A lot of stuff to look forward to.
All right, let's see here. So, well, I don't want audio from this, but okay. First thing that we need to talk about is really okay. So there's three movies coming out.
Yeah.
That they've announced. One of which is Old Republic, but like High Republic era. So that'll be interesting. That's going to be similar time frame as the show The Acolyte, which is 100 years before The Phantom Menace, and they are doing that. Then there's going to be a Boba Fett, Bo-Katan, Mando, Ahsoka era movie directed by Dave Filoni. So that's supposed to tie all of these characters from these shows together into one.
I think it's the
movie.
Conclusion, actually.
But that's not due out for like 3 years or something
really?
like that. So I think they've got some more show to do before then. They announced a Rey movie that's supposed to take place 10 years after the end of The Rise of Skywalker. It's supposed to have her.
And as long as Rian Johnson doesn't direct it, it'll be fine.
Rian Johnson isn't a bad director. It's just he wanted to
writer.
ruin it.
Yeah.
He's a bad writer.
He had bad intent, let's be honest. Let's be honest about it.
Yeah, anyway, so that went the way it went, and now we're getting a Rey movie. So fine, write a totally new story. Don't you dare bring back Palpatine again, because I just don't ever want to hear about him again in the sequel trilogy.
Well,
unless
that's
Luke or
hopefully what
Anakin
the
are
whole
back.
point
The
the end of the last movie is that they got rid of that.
But like,
What's
the whole
out
point
there?
of the prophecy and the Skywalker people being the chosen ones, that Darth Vader had to kill him.
Right.
And he did.
Right.
So that should have been the end of it. It negates the point of the entire first 6 movies.
Let's not go on a rant of the.
Oh my god. Okay.
Just
sequels.
block it out, breathe.
We know
deep breaths.
we could all write our own novels.
Yeah. So they're doing that movie, and I will watch it because I'm a Star Wars fan and I'll always give it its chance. But the biggest thing that we're most excited for is exactly what Cam was asking for: Rebels 2.0.
Yeah.
AKA
Ahsoka.
They aired a trailer for that show.
Right
Sabine is in it.
Thrawn,
Chopper's in it. Thrawn is in
Hera.
it. Hera's
the
in
whole
it.
Ghost crew.
So I'm 99% sure Ezra's going to be in
no,
it.
we saw
We
Ezra
saw
as a
Ezra
hologram.
in a
Oh,
hologram.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But that was leaked a long time ago, I thought.
Well, it was
now it's
brought
official.
back in the trailer.
Oh, yeah. Okay, now it's official.
That was really cool. You actually got to see Ezra in his orange
Yeah,
jumpsuit.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if you guys noticed. I think I might have sent you a little picture of it, but they showed the opening scene of the trailer was the ending scene of Rebels with
Yes.
Sabine standing on the tower
Oh.
and the Ahsoka's Jedi ship being escorted by the 2 X-wings flying by the tower.
So,
So it's
That was
exactly
low-key.
listeners,
Yeah.
after this trailer dropped, we shared some messages and decided we're going to have to rewatch Rebels. Maybe we'll do it like one arc at a time and do a podcast on each like major arc we could do. We could skip the filler. I don't know.
This was something I mentioned to Cam earlier before we started recording. Was if you look at the logo for Ahsoka, that looks a lot like the World Between Worlds.
And there were
and that's what
some
you mentioned.
clips
There's one scene, in the trailer.
where it showcased that the Onion Jedi, for those of you that don't know, pretty sure that actor was the guy who played the Onion Knight in Game of Thrones.
Is it really?
I think so. It looks like him. And I thought I saw a joke about that online.
I think he played the Punisher. Actually.
Resident Game of Thrones.
Punisher?
Yeah.
Gerard Butler?
No, not in the good movie. Not in the
No.
good.
No,
not the good
no.
Punisher.
Gerard Butler was not the good one. The good one was the first one. Man.
Wow. Yeah. What is that actor?
Punisher
guy
Warzone
from the
is
show?
the one with Gerard Butler.
Well, he's good too.
All right, I'm gonna look it up,
Punisher
guys.
Spiral here. Sorry.
No, not who the Punisher is. I'm gonna look up who this character is. But a lot of people are hypothesizing that it could be Sabayoth.
Sabayoth.
Yeah, from Heir to the Empire, which is the Thrawn trilogy that Timothy Zahn wrote back in the 90s. So mind you, that trilogy came out before the prequels existed. So I just started those myself, and they have like bits in it where they say the Empire's been around for 50 years, but we know the Empire actually only existed for like 25 years, I think, before it disappeared. So it's like all kinds of interesting stuff. But Sabaoth is this, he's an old Jedi master, but theoretically a clone of an old Jedi master that Thrawn finds on this planet, and he wants to use him to find this missing fleet. And we think the missing fleet could be the fleet on Exegol, if they decide to go that route. But that means Sabaoth would be that dark warrior.
Yeah.
And the theory is the female warrior could be Mara Jade, but without the red hair, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know how far you are in the books, but basically...
No, I'm like 2 hours in.
Sabaoth is cracked. He's messed up.
He was pretty much messed up the moment you meet him.
And so we've never really seen a character like that who's just completely unhinged, and the only word to describe it is just off his rocker.
Beginning of Kylo Ren, he was pretty unhinged.
This is a lot worse.
But worse, yeah.
He was just emo. That's all.
No, this man is like not okay. So that would be a totally new thing to Star Wars, which is exciting.
And that's good because they need more new things. I think that's the direction they need to go in, rather than recycling more old stuff.
They didn't show Thrawn in the trailer, but it's pretty.
They did. They showed his back. He was walking.
They did show his back. We didn't see the face reveal, but we got the back.
We did not. But I think they released the actor, and people have made him blue. Basically.
So it's the same actor who voiced him in Rebels, which is
Lars,
awesome.
that's Lars Mikkelsen.
Even better.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
What else from the trailer? Anything we're missing?
I'm just trying to find this.
It's going to be friggin' awesome.
Yeah.
It is
the World Between Worlds. It looks like when you first see that guy, he's in the World Between Worlds, and that's going to play a major factor.
And the orange lightsabers.
Which we don't know what that's all about.
They said it wasn't an accident. That's all they said, basically.
I know at one point they were exploring with the idea that in order to get a red saber, you had to corrupt a blue saber or a green saber.
You have to corrupt a living crystal and make it bleed. And then Ahsoka gets her white sabers by taking a corrupted crystal, and it's either purifying or pacifying it or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes white. So a lot of speculation onto how you get orange is maybe... I think it's a lot of Dark Jedi do stuff like orange lightsabers and whatnot.
That's an option, and I think that's way more likely. But also just throwing this out there, if they are World Between Worlds type folks who have a relationship to that, maybe there's some sort of like time wraith type Jedi or timekeeper type dark entity who just kind of goes after people who mess with time.
I think we can at least say that hopefully this means there's no Darth Ezra, because there are other...
Yes, we were wondering who is Ahsoka going to duel against, and not Ezra. Possibly.
Dude, I hope it's...
did you guys see there was a still image that got released of Sabine wielding a green lightsaber that people are saying is Ezra's.
Oh, I did not see that.
I'm not sure if I sent it to you guys, but I saw that. So that would be cool. So I think that would almost mean that Ezra comes back with his green lightsaber.
She has been trained by Kanan a little bit. Mm-hmm. She knows how to handle the saber.
Oh, you're right. He was the guy who played Frank Castle in Punisher Warzone. His name's Ray Stevenson.
Yeah.
But he is in a HBO show. He's not in Game of Thrones. He's in Rome. All right, so I stand corrected and look like a dummy. That's fine. I look like a dummy every day at work.
I'd like to see the Onion Knight. He's awesome.
Dude, they've had Gwendolyn Christie was in Star Wars.
Phasma.
Yeah, what other Game of Thrones characters? Wasn't there more than one?
Yeah, there is. We're
and now I'm gonna...
Yeah, we're dropping the ball. There's a lot. There's what's his name? Jojen Reed was like in it for a second. Sorry, that's not relevant whatsoever. We're looking at this still image of Sabine holding a green saber.
There was one other one that I saw where it's like a cross.
Which may or may not be a Photoshop.
I just got handed an article. 28 Game of Thrones actors who have played Star Wars characters.
Yeah, so the casting director of the new trilogy was the same casting director.
Yeah. Maester Pycelle was General Veers.
He's
That's the
been
biggest
best,
one I
though.
always forget. That's a no-name one. It's kind of a no-name one. Gwendolyn Christie is obviously the big one. Yeah, there's a lot of them. They're mostly minor characters. General Veers is a pretty big character. Gwendolyn Christie's character is Phasma's like a named character.
There was none of this in the trailer, but one thing they confirmed is that Hayden Christensen will be in Ahsoka.
I am so
Love
hyped
that.
for that. I
If
did
we
see
get
that.
anything close to the Vader versus Ahsoka scene from Rebels, then I can die a happy man.
What if they recreated that? That would be
the Vader versus Ahsoka scene.
That would be crazy.
They don't have the balls.
Yeah.
I'm calling it.
Your audience has not seen Rebels, most likely. The general audience, they might need like a little bit of a backstory here. They don't even know what World Between Worlds is.
Yeah. Oh my God. Daenerys Targaryen.
Kira.
Yeah, Kira. I was gonna say Kira Knightley. No, Kira, the character in Solo, played by Emilia Clarke. All right, I don't want to look at that anymore. Okay, a lot of craziness that's gonna unfold with this series. Did I miss one that they announced?
Acolyte.
I said Acolyte. Oh my God. Does anybody else want to tell me how stupid I am? The star of the show that we're watching was a major character in Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah.
Pedro,
Hey,
Grogu's daddy.
he
Pascal.
follows directions. He doesn't take his helmet off.
Oh
like a
my
good
God. He
Mandalorian.
learned his lesson after
Right.
the mountain crushed his
Protect the
head.
face at all costs.
Oh, I feel so stupid. Well, you know, when you're trying to think of things that you can't.
Yeah.
That's okay.
So before we wrap things up, what are your guys like hopes, thoughts? I mean, hard to say any hard predictions exactly, but any like last final thoughts based on like trailer, what we can maybe hope for in the next episode, lead into,
Well,
or just
the
in general?
fleets are going to engage in combat.
Are we going to see the return of Thrawn in chapter 24?
I say yes.
I think so too, but maybe just at the end.
Right.
I really
That's
thought
what I
they
would
were going to
imagine.
introduce him in
it'd be-
this one in the Shadow Council, but they didn't.
I think it's going to be like a Mandalorians are winning kind of thing.
But at
Or-
least,
or
you
I
know
don't
what?
think so.
Or on the ropes, and then Thrawn comes in to like finish him off or something, and then a few people escape at the very end.
Now we know what the friggin' plot is and why taking Mandalore back was so consequential, because the Empire's been there for the last
Yeah.
like 30 years.
This could be a dark ending. If last
Yeah.
season was really
If
the
they leave us
ultimate
on that
light
big a
ending.
hanger, man, like
Hey, that's how they.
we don't get Din rescued. Grogu and Bo have to leave, and then we just have to watch the Ahsoka show, and it has like nothing to do with this.
This is the episode 5 of Mandalorian. Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they have to go and recruit the cast of rebels, the ensemble,
Blue
to
Squadron.
fight, right?
Get
To
the
go
Ghost-
after
Ghost Crew.
Thrawn and company to retrieve Din.
Yeah,
That
Captain
might- I can
Teva
see that.
knows that this is happening, kind of vaguely. So I think he's coming back. That's my prediction. And he could go back to the New Republic and say, hey, something's up.
I just want Rebels 2.0. That's all.
You're
all
getting
do.
it, man.
I am,
You're
and
getting
I'm
it.
happy.
All
No matter
right.
how sad the ending of this next episode is, I'll be happy.
Oh my God! I hope
It's going to be
not.
amazing. We're pumped for the season finale next week. But for right now, that will do it for this episode of Bring Your Own Lightsaber. And remember, always,
Bring your own lightsaber.